Am I the a-hole for making passive-aggressive comments to my husband after we overstayed at a restaurant? My husband, M33, and I, F27, took our 3 kids, 5, 4, and 10 months, to a restaurant to meet up with his friends and their 2 kids, 8 and 4. We had some drinks, ate, and paid our bills. Then my husband moved his chair to the other end of the table where the other couple was sitting, completely cutting me off from the conversation. I was left in the corner with the baby, who was starting to get fussy after sitting for about 90 minutes. It was close to bedtime, and she wanted to move around. Meanwhile, the older kids were running between nearby tables. We were seated in a far corner of the restaurant, away from other diners since it was the off-season in a tiny tourist town, so they weren't directly bothering anyone, but I was still irritated. There were 3 other adults, and I figured they could handle the older kids while I managed the baby. As time passed, the baby got more unsettled and started crying. It had been over 2 hours since we arrived. I commented about the waitress putting up chairs, a clear sign they were closing. Another 15 minutes went by, the kids were still rowdy, the baby was fully crying, and I was completely disassociating from the situation. Finally, the waitress came over and told us they were closing. I thanked her and mentioned how the others weren't taking the hint. She laughed it off, but I was beyond frustrated. Everyone finally got up to leave, and I told my husband, I don't know why you didn't just invite them over instead. I pointed out how the kids were misbehaving and the baby was crying. He got annoyed and asked why I didn't speak up sooner. I told him I was cut off from the conversation and didn't want to be the one to interrupt him and his friends, but I also didn't understand why he thought it was fine to stay that long when we have 3 young kids. We live 3 minutes away. His friends could have easily brought their kids over instead. I was definitely passive aggressive at that point, but it felt ridiculous that he never once considered how chaotic the situation was. He's mad that I didn't say anything earlier, but I feel like as my partner, he should be able to read the room and realize when it's time to go. Am I the a-hole?